Do you believe that the growth of tourism in the Asia-Pacific region will have a negative effect to the environment, and what PATA is doing for the education of its members about the environmental issues?
Look, Pada was talking about environmental sustainability issues before most politicians could spell environment. We were doing it 25 or 30 years ago. Pada were central in making sure a lot of very precious beach properties in places like Bali never went above tree level, which was then copied in island resorts like Samui. So the mark of Pata's credentials in terms of how we've helped set sensible, balanced standard has been there for decades. So to be honest, I get a little irritated when people question me about, are Pata really green-minded? Are we really helping the whole interface and find a balance between sustainable development and obviously business growth? We're on a planet which, yes, has limited resources, but I don't think it's right that one small continent should dominate the discussion and tell the rest of the world how it should behave or be taxed. And I'm referring, yes, deliberately to the EU ETS, which is an unbelievable piece of arrogance by Europe, who don't even have a clear mandate, in my opinion, from its own people to do this, let alone from the other 6 billion people on the planet. That isn't to say that we, the travel and tourist industry, particularly the aviation industry, do not want to share the responsibility and offset over and above our predicted carbon footprint. In fact, at the moment, governments are collecting enough tax to offset all aviation on the globe by 40%. Except the money they're collecting, they're not putting back into environmental projects. They're just using it as a stealth tax. The UK government is the #1 hypocrite in this area. And the Mother of Parliaments is setting a very bad example to take the equivalent, let's be clear on this, on an individual basis. For a UK-based family to visit Asia, our region, the UK government is, through a stealth tax through the airlines, taking over $500 off a family for permission to leave their own country. It's called APD, but it's really a detention tax. It's a limit on people's freedom of movement. And it's not known by, I would say, 90% of the British public, because the airlines collect it for the government. It's not shown clearly in a ticket receipt. And the airlines, as usual, get extremely low margins for what they do, for the risk they take. So Pata's very exercised about this because it's hypocritical, it's unfair, it's unreasonable, and I have numerous airline CEOs on the record telling Pata this, as well as a lot of governments in Asia saying, if you in Europe are going to tax and harass us on this level in a key strategic industry, don't expect us to trade so freely with you as you would like. And the EU with the ETS, as everyone knows from seeing the media in recent weeks, is precipitating a trade war, which is of absolutely no value to anyone. So we very much hope that a compromise can be found, and the issue of aviation and the environment has to be dealt with globally, and it has to therefore be sent to the appropriate place to deal with that, and that is ICAO, the UN agency that has ultimate responsibility for controlling and regulating aviation globally.